The greatest nation on earth, America. We have the most amazing people that put their faith and this nation above all. The American Frontline podcast has special guests such as our military, first responders, and local elected officials to speak about how they continue to support the nation we all love and live in. Welcome to the American Frontline podcast with TJ Falah, proudly sponsored by FireNews.com. Welcome to episode 11 of the American Frontline podcast. I am your host, TJ Falah. Today we have a very special guest with us, and that is Jerry Crossin. Jerry, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
So Jerry's with the Suffolk County Police Department, Coast Guard, and also a former volunteer, and also the CEO of Responder Fitt, which is awesome. And I need to start doing because I'm getting a little bit too much lately. Ready to conquer the podcast?
Let's do it. Let's crush it.
Let's do it. So let's talk about a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your background with Suffolk County Police Department.
Yeah, for sure. So I got hired back in 2021. It was right after I got out of the military. I got stationed over at the 5th Precinct. Did that for patrol for 2 years, and then I joined the Coke division of the police department, and I absolutely love it. So it's a community outreach program, essentially. So we do ticket enforcement. We also do a lot of community events, and it's honestly awesome to be connected with the community, speak to them, and help change lives.
That's awesome. What made you want to get involved with law enforcement?
Law enforcement. So the passion came from joining the fire department. I was a volunteer over at Middle Island. We had a lot of guys who were police officers and firefighters. They were paid guys. We had a few guys who were at the lab, and then guys who were from NYPD, Nassau County, and the Sheriff's Department. And what I loved is they would come back to the firehouse and they would tell all these stories about all the cool things they were doing. And it was cool to actually hear and see the changes that they were making in people's lives. So I figured it was my way to give back, was to also join that branch as well.
That's awesome. And then I know that you have a lot of background with like the Coast Guard and stuff. You would say that contributed to it, I'm sure.
Yes. So the Coast Guard's known as doing like premier search and rescue. And then they also do a portion of law enforcement as well. So it was like getting my feet wet before I actually joined the county agency.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about like the Coast Guard, like what exactly your roles and responsibilities were there, because I know I always hear a lot about the Coast Guard, but I'm not too familiar with what they do, especially on Long Island, because I know that sometimes we'll have the Seahawks, right? That's what they are, the UH-60 Seahawk.
Yes.
They'll sometimes fly over from a base in Connecticut if there's like some sort of water rescue. I know that, but just a little bit more background with the Coast Guard because I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually was stationed over at Shinnecock in Hampton Bays. There we have the 47-foot boat, and then we would also have the 29 response boat. Those two boats will go out depending on the different seas and tide state. Outside of that, we have the Coast Guard Dolphin helicopters. We have two bases where they respond out of. One is out of Cape Cod, and the other one's out of Atlantic City. And what was cool about them is we would go out, whatever search and rescue desire was needed, especially if they're really out in the ocean, we would go, and then the helicopters would also fly out. They would normally take about like 20, 25 minutes to get on scene from either Cape Cod or Atlantic City. But it was nice to have them because they're able to deploy life rafts. They could send their rescue swimmer down, and then we could come alongside and either pick them up or figure out what situation was at hand. Sometimes we would put a pump over on their boat. A lot of people don't know too much about the Coast Guard. So the Coast Guard's known for search and rescue. Outside of that, they also do law enforcement. We do migrant interdictions, and then they also do a lot with drugs, human trafficking. So there's a lot that goes into it. Back when I was stationed in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We were doing a lot with CBP, getting a lot of immigrants who are actually coming in on like tree bark rafts with duct tape. So it was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, right. So the cruise ships would actually call in and they would say, hey, we have this raft that's out floating. We're going to pick them up. And then we would come over, or we would have one of the Coast Guard ships pick them up, and then they would transfer them to us. And we bring them back to land, give them fresh water, change of clothes, and then they would go throughout our immigration progress.
Wow. You see, I didn't even know that extent of the Coast Guard, and that's honestly awesome. I want to learn like different things about all of our different branches of the military, because I feel like there's so many things that the public doesn't know as far as like what the different branches can do, because I know there's a lot of different like roles and stuff that go into it. I remember because, well, I'm in South Country and we have a boat. I know that we've worked alongside of you guys a couple times. You guys have been out there with us. Sometimes the boats will come out. They used to come out of Center Moriches, but there's not a base out there anymore, right?
No. So think of it this way. So Shinnecock had we'll say like a substation, like a station 2 for many people who are in the fire department service. In the summer times and throughout the year, we would have a SAR it's called a SAR detachment, a SAR-det. And what they would do is we would split up our crews. So one crew would be at Shinnecock and the other crew is at East Moriches. Unfortunately, just due to funding and a bunch of other situations, they limited it back to just being that one station at Shinnecock. Still the same response. It's just they're changing where the resources are going.
Yeah, I remember I used to drive out there with my friends and like stuff, and you would see the Coast Guard, like you'd see the gate and stuff,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't go back there. We would be like, oh, we got to turn around. Like we didn't know what it was or like what was going on. But I remember back, that was a very prominent location with TWA Flight 800. I remember they brought a lot of the debris back there because the inlet is right over there. So they would come right from the ocean and bring a lot of the debris, and unfortunately, a lot of the people who passed away over there.
Yeah.
So I know that I know about that, and the Coast Guard honestly just sounds like a great branch. One of our lieutenants from South Country is in the Coast Guard too. Great guy.
Yeah.
Do you know him? Rob LaPree.
No, I don't know.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. You got to introduce me to him.
Yeah, I absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about Suffolk County Police. So what other relations do you do with that? I know you said you're part of COPE. And COPE is a very good division. I've seen you guys out there. Actually, a COPE officer was just at our building. We just had Touch a Truck.
Yeah.
That was a really good event. We had a lot of people come, probably about 60 to 80.
Wow.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about COPE.
So COPE is it's like a community outreach. Essentially, we're all community support officers. We go out into the community. We're either answering their calls and complaints. So once a month, they'll meet with the command and they'll say, hey, as the community, they'll meet with the command and they'll say, hey, we're having issues with stop signs. We feel people are blowing these stop signs. Okay, we'll go out there and we'll make sure that we're enforcing that stop sign, making sure people are slowing down, especially around when kids are getting out of school, crossing the street. You want to make sure everyone's coming to a stop, right? So we'll answer those little minute complaints and then we'll go into like more graver situations. Just varies. We also do all the parades. You'll see us out either on the bikes or we'll be walking around, just making sure that the community feels safe and that we're visible and we're seen.
I see you in the village a lot too. Is that a separate detail or is that like is that just part of COPE?
Yeah, so that is the 5th Precinct's night detail. So it's the Patchogue Village detail. Essentially what we do is we'll go out there and we'll just enforce some of the village's rules as far as just watching people drinking open containers. We're trying to limit that just because we want to reduce the amount of fights that are going on in the community, especially late night. We want to make sure that we're providing that public safety. People see us, we see them. And since we've implemented that program, the crime rate has dropped drastically between fights and various other situations. Just because they see that we're visible, we're out there, we're answering calls. Yeah,
I see you guys out there all the time. Like I'll go out to dinner with my friends and stuff before Patchogue starts to get very lively, I would say. And I see you guys out there. I've seen a lot of, Patchogue fights and you guys and the, what is the village called? The village...
Patchogue Public Safety?
Public Safety, that's what it's called. Patchogue Village Public Safety's out there really enforcing things, which is good. Gives you guys a hand. I know I've been out a couple times because I'm not a big drinker, so I don't like to drink, but I'll go out there with my friends sometimes to having a party or something like that. I see how rowdy it can get. I see how dangerous it can get. So it's very good that you guys are out there and helping to enforce all this stuff.
Yeah, especially like, it's a big bar scene. So we got a lot of, unfortunately drunk drivers driving through the area. But I'll tell you, we have so many agencies out there. You got Patchogue Public Safety, you got Suffolk Police from the 5th Precinct, and then you have the Suffolk County Highway Patrol, the safety team, which is just a certified, they're advanced like DWI guys who come out and they make sure, you're safe to operate. Alongside that, you also got the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. And they have their same team. They call it the Spider Team. Still the same exact situation. They look for DWIs, just making sure we're keeping our roads safe.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw a checkpoint the other day, actually. I was driving over, oh my gosh. It was right off of the Starbucks over there by Pep Boys, I think it is. I don't know, but I saw the checkpoint over there the other day.
Waverly and Sunrise, right?
Yes, Waverly and Sunrise. Yeah. And I saw MTA posted a video on it and stuff like that. I think there was 8 I think there was 8 arrests, I believe, in regards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good. It gets those people off the street. I mean, unfortunately, they had a drunk driving incident recently in Patchogue. 2 of them, I believe. One was pedestrians involved, and the other had hit the buildings, unless it was a medical emergency. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
If it was a medical emergency, I apologize, but I believe it was an intox situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, too? Like, it's nice to also work with other outside agencies. Like, that was my first time actually encountering with MTA. So it was nice to be able to go over there, help them out. They came back to the precinct, actually did like a breath sample for one of the guys, a breath test officer.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to see one of those guys come to the precinct. We came down. I assisted them in providing that breath test for them. And it was a cool experience. It's nice to work with other agencies. So,
yeah, a couple of our guys at South Country are MTA officers too. You know, Gilligan.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, he's an MTA guy. Caldwell. So they're all great guys. And I know that he was out there the other day doing the enforcement with them because he's a highway guy, MTA highway guy, which is a really cool division. Again, it's same like with the branches of the military that you wouldn't expect MTA to have. They have highway, they have I think a marine section. They have like a lot of different things you wouldn't expect, which is really cool. So now something I wanted to get into. So let's talk a little bit about your volunteering in the past. So you used to volunteer at Quorum, you told me, right?
So I volunteered at Middle Island,
Mhm.
and then I was a houseman at Quorum.
That's what it was. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about how those went.
Yeah, so ironically, I was a junior originally at Middle Island back when I was in like junior high. Really loved being in the program. Really loved connecting with the community in that aspect. It was cool. Eventually, when I was of age, I ended up joining, became a volunteer, went through everything, went to Firefighter 1, did all the crazy schools. We actually did some stuff with Hagerman back then. I think it was the Turk competition.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Way back then. Yeah. So it was cool. It was awesome. After that, I ended up going into the military. When I came back, I started working at the Quorum Fire Department as a houseman. So it was awesome. Great experience with them. Bunch of great guys. I dispatched for them, went on a few fire runs with them, did EMS with them. They're a great group of guys over there.
Yeah. I wouldn't say you're too familiar on the topic right now, but they're trying to, I wouldn't say disband volunteering, but volunteering's starting to fade on Long Island. It's starting to go away. And it's such an essential piece to this island to keep having volunteers because I love volunteering. We also have a guest listener today in the studio, Almaty, sitting over there. But Almaty's also a volunteer with me, and he loves to volunteer. And it's just something that we all enjoy and that we love doing. And I'm sure that you absolutely adored it when you did it. It's great. That's what gave me my beginning.
Yeah, so the only reason I really left is because I ended up moving out of the town,
Mhm.
and just with everything else going on, I couldn't go back to start up. But I enjoyed my full-time experience with them. It honestly made me a better person, and that's how I got into the military originally. Because I was like, hey, what's the fastest way I can become a police officer? To one of the guys who was already in. And he's like, I was in the Coast Guard. He's like, they do law enforcement. So he's like, if you're looking to do that, that's a great path to go down. So I'm like, all right, perfect. So I ended up signing up, did my 4 years with the military, got out. And then that's how I got into PD right away, because they give you the 5 extra points as well for the test.
Yeah. And it's great. It's great. And
Yeah.
volunteering is just something that's so solid and so like it gives so many people their beginnings and so many people their starts, just like you said.
Yeah.
Just like with me, youth squad. I started there, made my way up. I didn't think I would be sitting here. God gave me a great path to lead me to where I am right now. And volunteering is one of the paths that he used for it. And it's amazing.
Yeah. The
So
camaraderie is awesome.
Oh,
Absolutely
yeah.
Awesome.
absolutely.
You meet some of your best friends, your lifelong changing friends from volunteering.
Some of my greatest friends are from volunteering, not from
Yeah.
school, not from all from volunteering.
Yeah.
Genuinely. I had great friends at Mastic Beach. I have great friends now at South Country. I really couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah. And it's like a small community, because even though you're in your small town, somehow you still know all these people from all over, just from going to like county drills or practices or fundraisers.
Yeah.
It's amazing how tight knit, even though like I have a friend who's in Selden or another friend in Riverhead or wherever, and then you all come together at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's awesome. There's
Yeah,
nothing
go
like
over the island. Like I like to visit a lot of agencies and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and like get to know a lot of people better. And it's just like it's such a well knit family. You have those agencies that compete with each other and stuff, but like at the end of the day, everybody knows that we're there for each other. Especially if you have a rough call. I remember we had a call where we brought a infant into the hospital.
Yes.
And it was a serious situation. But when I got there, when I tell you, I had at least 6 different agencies come running up at the same time to help. Everybody knows when it's time to clock in and help out. Everybody knows it's for the child. It's for us. They know that we're all there for each other, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually remember that night. I was there. Yeah.
Yep.
And same thing, the Cope guys, we heard that coming over and they're like, all right, let's get a route going.
You guys too.
Yeah.
Huge asset, huge help.
Yeah.
Immense help. I wasn't on scene. I was just, I was at the hospital after, but it's just, you go to see, you can see how everybody comes together and helps out.
Yeah.
Fire, EMS, and law enforcement. Great unison there.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I had another situation. We put a tourniquet on this guy. Long story short, his surgical wound opened up and it was awesome. It turned out Holbrook, this is a few years going back. When I was still on patrol, Holbrook FD, they had their fire trucks already blocking roads. It was awesome. We did a quick route up to Nichols, got him to a higher level of care. And it's awesome to see that community come together so quickly, so fast. And you're like, we never trained for this. Like, there's no training on doing a route. It's just everyone knows what to kind of do. And we're just sticking with it and we're doing it.
Yep.
And
it's like, you stop there. Don't move.
Right. And then at the end, everyone's like, how do we pull this off? But you know what? It's like, it's nice to see everyone coming together as a community to help that person. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We're trying to make the community stronger and help everyone,
100%. So let's get you into your element. Let's talk about Responder Fit. This is a great program from what I've seen. I see the reels. I think one of your reels had like 16,000 likes the other day I was looking at. I mean, that's nuts. You get crazy views on this stuff. It's awesome. And it seems like a great program. I mean, it's hard because my background from the outside looking in, just whack the mic, there's a lot of food in EMS and fire. I mean, people donate, and we appreciate it. People donate bagels, pizza. I mean, just endless stuff. And how do you not eat it? I mean, before we just ordered like 5 pies pizza. I had 2 slices. Like I was like, I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna be talking to Jerry on the show. I'm gonna be regretting this as I talk to him. But like you think about this, and it's like there's got to be a way to mitigate this, and because it's important, it's vital because you're responsible for somebody's life, and how are you going to help somebody if you can't help yourself? So tell me about it, sir.
Yeah. So honestly, I woke up one day and I'm like, we have to make a change. And I'll admit, I was never that big fit guy at first. I used to weigh like a little over 200 pounds, and it's scary because we're supposed to be at our best to help others. And if we're not at our best, how can we help someone else? Right. So an example I always go back to is, let's say there's someone who's in cardiac arrest on the 2nd floor, right? And you're a paramedic, you have everything you need. You have the ALS bag, you have your airway bag, you got Lucas on your back. You're coming in with all this equipment and you got to now climb up, two flights of stairs, right? Now, once you get up to those 2 flights of stairs, now on top of that, you have to set everything up, start doing compressions until we can get someone else to help you with Lucas, start putting a line in. There's a lot that's involved. And if you're already gassed out going up those steps, how are you supposed to help that family member who's looking at you as the answer, their problems, their answer to their prayer, right? So I decided, I've seen it too often and too much that we needed to make the change. Especially when I was in my volunteer and paid agency, we have some guys who were just, unfortunately, they blew up over time. And I always say, it goes back to the EMS diet plan, right? What was that? Anything in a brown bag. Why? Because we need it quick, we need it fast, and we already got a job holding, So I've been trying to help guys out slowly but surely. I was giving advice here and there, like, hey, instead of this, do this. Instead of that, do this, right? And what I'm telling everyone is make small implementations in your life, right? So, for instance, let's say you're working a 12-hour tour. The night before you're off, right? Why don't you try prepping some food so this way you have some options, right? Because what happens is if you don't plan for it to be successful, right, you're not going to be successful at all, right? So you're planning to fail. So I tell everyone, hey, listen, the night before, find something you like, whatever it is, meal prep, have some meals laid out. So this way, the next day you wake up in the morning, you pull that out, you bring it to the fridge, it's good to go. And when it comes to small implementations, do one thing at a time. So if your goal is, hey, I'm going to walk 10,000 steps. All right, let's start there. Let's walk 10,000 steps daily and then build a second habit. So now we're going to start drinking water on top of that. So now we're doing the 10,000 steps plus water. Then we're going to start working out. Where people seem to, I wouldn't say fail, but where they start to lose that motivation is they do too many changes too quickly, also known as going cold turkey, right? So instead of doing that, do one thing at a time. So right now I have a guy, he can't work out at all. We're just doing diet manipulations. So I'm like, hey, brother, you go to the firehouse on Tuesdays and Thursdays. One day is his training day. One day is his meeting days, right? I'm like, what do they have there? He's like, oh, bro, you know how it is. They got the pizza. They got the donuts. We got dessert from here. You know, we have this, we have that. Okay, pick a night where you want to eat whatever with the crew. Just eat a little bit. Don't, overindulge. Once you're full, stop eating, right? Besides that, I go throughout the rest of the week, let's make sure we're eating a little bit healthier. So, we're having some protein, we're having a good carb source, a good fat source. And what I mean by that is we're going to have, instead of chicken thighs, let's do chicken breasts, right? Instead of ground beef 80-20, let's do 90-10. Just cut a little bit of that fat out, right? And then we're going to add a nice carb source. So I always recommend, if you're trying to lose weight, let's do sweet potatoes instead of white rice or brown rice. The rice is good, but too much of it, you're going to overindulge in those calories. So try sweet potatoes as another option. And then do that, pair with a nice vegetable. I'm a big fan of broccoli, so try that. But then there's some guys who don't have time to do all the meal prep, or they don't have the kitchen space to do all the meal prep, right? So then what do I recommend? Redefine, Healthy Meals Direct, Hummus Fit. There's tons of other sources, even if you're not on Long Island, where you're able to go place an order, get that food picked up, and now at least you have those food options.
Yeah, and honestly, hearing that plan genuinely is a great thing for first responders. Quick, easy, ready to go, just like you said, and it helps with the dietary plan. And I think that that's a great point that you bring up. A lot of people go cold turkey, and then after a couple of days, I can't take it anymore, and just overindulge again. And then that's when you start gaining the weight, and that's when you start regaining and you're not in a calorie deficit anymore. I know a calorie deficit diet is really, really important, especially based on your weight and stuff like that. And it just sounds like a great program all around.
Yeah, and like I said, the goal is just to help. I originally started the program out just to help other people who were in that first responder situation, that role. And I didn't expect it to blow up to what it is today. But I think it's just important to start calling people out, because no one's going to make that change for you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's tough to say, or hard to say. Unfortunately, if I'm like, hey, brother, you should probably, think about, dieting back a little bit, right? They're like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to you. But now when you start saying, hey, listen, it's starting to become a problem, right? What are we going to do? You see an alcoholic, right? We'll tell the alcoholic, hey, we got to start, dialing back. But someone who's overweight, we're not saying anything to. And that's just as important. Obesity, when you're older, you're not going to live that long life, right? And it's all about longevity. We can't reach longevity if we're not, healthy. So,
no. And the amount of foods and fast foods and supplements and all this crap that they put into the foods in America now. I mean, you look at other countries, a lot of other countries are fit.
Yeah.
And you look at us, and we got McDonald's around the corner, Wendy's. You got like 10 McDonald's within a 10-mile span of each other. And it's just like you see people in there eating and eating and eating and eating. And it's like, you got to just knock it off,
Yeah. And I also blame, and you're so right, I kind of blame the government a little bit to that standard as well. Because, for instance, I actually just created an Instagram reel on it the other day, right? You go to the airport, the chips, right? Those are $2, but now the apple's $5, or the yogurt's $10. You're like, that's not making anyone healthy or choose a healthy option. Even if you're a lower income person, you can't afford that $10 Greek yogurt. You're going to opt for that $3 chips or the $5 sandwich. Yeah. So it's a little bit also about trying to make it accessible for people to get into that better shape.
The healthier foods are always more expensive.
Yeah.
It's just like the thing where people are like, oh, well, the bad foods always taste better. It's like, well, you got to change your palate. You got to try and you got to convince yourself that these other foods taste better.
1000%. Even so, I've been telling people too, why not try intermittent fasting? All right, you know you're going to have a large meal at dinner. Why don't we skip breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
You know, have the coffee instead.
Yeah, as long as you make your calories per day. I mean, like me, like I don't mind sharing this stuff. Like me, like I've been using MyFitnessPal. My calories per day with my weight and the amount I'm trying to lose is 2,000, or maybe like 2050, something like that. But what I do is like if I want like a larger meal at dinner, like tonight, we're going all you can eat sushi.
Nice,
love that place. But I like the sashimi. I like to try and get that if I can, if possible, because it's protein's fish. But we're going there. But like this morning, skipped breakfast, didn't have breakfast, and like for lunch, unfortunately, I had 2 slices of pizza, but it's 250 per slice, it's 500 calories, 500 calorie lunch. So now I have 1,500 for dinner. So it's easy when you look at it. It's just hard committing to that stuff. And I believe in the fire service with how much temptation is around us. That's what makes it so difficult.
Agreed. But you know what, though? You have to give yourself props as well because you're doing something that people aren't.
Yeah.
You're at least starting. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing. I like to tell people, hey, just get started. Implement one thing, one change. If you could do that, you're already ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I was showing people pictures of me the other day, and like right now I'm like around like the 200 range, and I've never weighed that much in my life. I used to work at the airport, and what was good is my buddies. Airport? Oh yeah, I used to work at MacArthur Airport. I used to work at Frontier as the supervisor of ramp operations, and then I was the supervisor and trainer for Breeze Airlines when they moved in. And then I ended up having to leave because the hours got cut because the flights were getting cut. It wasn't affordable for me. Right. But that was one of the greatest jobs of my life. I loved working at the airport. Amadi used to work at the airport too, right? Used to work in Hamptons. Yeah. Used to work at West Hampton at Kabreski.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was the greatest experience ever. I loved working there because I got to work with planes. I got to work with great people. And also these people. So in the summer, it would get hot. You'd work in the bin. You'd stack bags. So I was probably not this weight. I was probably like maybe like 180, I would say. And I wanted to lose weight. And I was like, well, how do I do this? I didn't know anything about a calorie deficit. I just thought, oh, I got to eat healthy. I didn't know anything about it. My buddies told me about a calorie deficit. MyFitnessPal was on the newer side. So I was like, let me give it a shot. So I used to wake up in the morning. I would get an egg sandwich. It would be turkey bacon, egg whites on a roll, salt, pepper, hot sauce. Hot sauce has no calories. Yeah. I'd have that. For lunch, it would be a Chipotle bowl. It would be rice, steak, either sour cream or queso. I could pick within the calories. And I think the salsa, the fresh tomato salsa. That was it. I would have that. And then for dinner, I rotate between like spicy tuna rolls, which is like just a 6, or I could have a sliced pizza if I wanted to. I rotate lunch and dinner. I do Chipotle, but I did that for a while to lose the weight. But what was good when you're working at the airport is you're working in the bin. So when I was working in the bin, stacking bags, I'm getting that cardio in and I'd log it. So it would add my calories to MyFitnessPal, which was great. And I lost like maybe 25 pounds. And I went from 180 to like maybe like 160. Like I was doing really, really good. And then all of a sudden I went back to the ambulance company. Guess what happened? Food. I ate a lot. And I get all the way back. But now, and I've been stuck in that rut ever since I left the airport, but now I'm trying to get out of that rut. And I also have rosacea. So my rosacea flares up when I eat like crap. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, great program, dude. It's sick.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And honestly, like I like today on my way here, someone called me. They're like, hey, you just got like 2,000 followers. I'm like, dude, I didn't expect this to go to where it's at. I said, if I could help one person, that's cool.
Do you have TikTok?
I do have TikTok. I'll be honest with you, I'm so lazy with it because I use Instagram edits.
That's where the followers are.
I know.
That's where the followers are. But I'm sure I've seen your account, and your account is starting to literally skyrocket. Yeah. It really is. I saw a reel the other day. I mean, did you see it, Almaty? It was the reel, like 16,000 likes. Literally 16,000 likes on the one. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Because you know what it is? I'm calling out the root of the problem. You know, unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, but like you have to call it out. Yeah. People need to see it like in the mirror to say, okay, this is it. This is the change I need to make. I feel like when you kind of beat around the bush with people, they're like, it's whatever. But now when you say, listen, like, I hate to say it, you're at your max capacity. Yeah. When are we going to start going back the other way? Because you said you signed up to help save the community. You signed up to help make that difference, right? No matter if you're police, fire, EMS. But how can you make that difference when you can't even get to the call and be ready? You know, we have some guys who are in the fire department. They're sucking down that 30-minute bottle in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And they're so out of breath. And like, even when we do rehab, we'll do vitals on some people and we'll be like, yo, your blood pressure's through the roof.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. I'll never forget. When I was back at, when I was a volunteer, we had to take, we were at county for one of the trainings. We had one of the guys, he fell through. It took like 5 of us to get him up just because of his weight. Yeah. And it's like, brother, it's like, not only are you out of shape, you're now affecting everyone else. Yeah. So now think of it this way, from a firefighter perspective, right? As a fireman, you're what, like, we'll say 300 pounds. And then the gear with a set of tools, we'll say that's another 100.
It's like a whole unit running towards you.
Right. So, you know, you're almost pushing 400 pounds. And now let's say you're above the fire floor, you fall through. How many guys is it going to take to get you out of this building while it's on fire? Now we have to stop, you know, fire suppression operations to now pull you out. Yes, we have the rapid intervention team, but still sometimes they're struggling because they have all their gear on as well. Now everyone's sucking down their bottles trying to forcefully get you out of this building. Yeah. So it's like, you got to remember, it's like, it's not only about you in this situation, it's about everyone else. You know, if you love yourself and you love the guys you work with, lose the weight. Yep.
You got to be able to take care of yourself in order to take care of somebody else.
Exactly.
You do. And if you don't, I mean, you're really honestly not only screwing yourself, but you're screwing the person you're trying to help. Because it's like, how am I able to help this person if I can't even breathe getting up these stairs?
Exactly. And what do they always teach you, right? You get into like any accident or any situation on scene, right? Safety first, right? All right, am I okay? Okay, I'm good. Now is my partner okay? Okay, he's good. Now we could triage this patient, right?
Yep.
And it goes same with your health.
Yep. And it's like what you said earlier, referencing the traffic situation, like shutting down roads. It's like you're not prepared for that situation. There are going to be some situations that you're put in physical wise that you weren't prepared for. The other day, actually, I'm not even going to say the other day, just not to round about the time, but maybe a week or two ago, we had somebody that was in a bathroom, wedged in a toilet, and wedged in a bathtub, and it was excess of like 350 pounds. And it's me and my 4 partners. Now I can call the fire department, but it doesn't matter. You're still in a 5x5 bathroom trying to get somebody out of this tub. And you got to be ready for this stuff. You got to be prepared because that's what you're there for. EMS, fire, police, that's what you're there for. Police more so because you guys sometimes have to do foot pursuits.
1,000%.
And you got to get that person because sometimes I've seen cases, somebody's in a foot pursuit, the subject gets away, the subject ends up killing somebody. Yep. And it's just like, if only they had that, now I'm not judging situations, but if only they had that extra run, that extra jump to get that person, it could have prevented another situation. Yeah. It could prevent a chain of events from happening.
Yeah. And you honestly hit the nail on the head. There's 2 talking points for that for the police department, right? And the first one is, think about this. We live in a wooded area. You have an officer who goes into the woods, we'll say a situation goes down. That officer now needs a tourniquet. You're up. You're a block away, but yet you can't run into the woods to give that fellow officer that tourniquet.
I'll be there in a minute.
Right. And then how do you say to his family, oh, I'm sorry, if only I, you know what I mean? Shame on you. Yeah. You know, you signed up to help make that change. Here is your shot, and you blew it.
And that's what I have to say I admire about Suffolk County Police Department. There are such high physical standards, especially to get in with the academy and with the just the initial entrance. I mean, how many push-ups is it again? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
You know how many push-ups?
It's what, 30?
29. 29 push-ups and how many sit-ups?
32? 28?
Yeah, 28. And then you have to do a mile run in...
Mile and a half. 12.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. It's not crazy where it's bad. It's crazy where it's like, that's the standard that you have to be at. Yeah. That's the standard where you have to be in order to get in. And it's good because these officers in Suffolk County are coming out and they are fit. Yep. They are healthy. They're ready to rock and roll. I mean, I saw a bunch of new recruits come to the ambulance company because they were riding along. They're starting to do. And these people are all very fit. They're healthy looking, you know, and they can run. They can go chase somebody, you know.
Yeah.
It's good.
Honestly, yeah. Especially a shout out to the Academy guys because they just revamped our whole training program.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the girls over there, and they're making it so much more better. And that's what it's about. It's about trying to train up this next generation, teaching them, hey, like you can't get, overweight. You got to make sure you're watching what you're eating and being ready for duty. It's all about, at the end of the day, being fit for duty.
100%.
And I'll tell you this, I can't speak too much about the case, but
Mm-hmm.
as a police officer, we had a car stop. We stopped one of the guys. He had a gun in his waistband. He took off on foot. I chased him down, got him, placed him in custody, and he's admitting to doing what he was going to do with, said firearm.
Yeah.
And then even the gun coming back to all these other events, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to get that person off the road.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what it's about. You got to be able to be fit for duty to actually get this guy off the road. He's who you got to be worried about. You know?
No, it's true. It really is true. Well, sir, I think this is a very productive episode today.
Yeah.
I think we killed it. I think we conquered it.
It's 30 minutes already?
That's right. Oh, yeah. Dude, time flies. When you're recording these shows,
Yeah.
time flies. I'm telling you, every single time. I look down. I think I did an episode with Anthony. And Anthony and I talked. I think we were in there for it felt like 20 minutes. It was an hour. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Went for a while.
That's funny.
So, all right, sir. Well, thanks so
right.
much for being on today. Always a
Thanks for having
pleasure.
me.
And it was great. That was episode 11 of the American Frontline Podcast. I am TJ Falah. Take care. The greatest nation on earth, America. We have the most amazing people that put their faith and this nation above all. The American Frontline Podcast has special guests such as our military, first responders, and local elected officials to speak about how they continue to support the nation we all love and live in. Welcome to the American Frontline Podcast with TJ Falah, proudly sponsored by FireNews.com.